Hey everyone, CG here. My recent unboxing video of an expensive Aliexpress katana got surprisingly a lot of views. And that's why I decided to make a review of my cheaper katanas shown in that video some of you wanted to know more about. Yes, this will be a review of not one but two katanas. So, here I have two katanas I bought on Aliexpress last year for about 100 US dollars. Actually, this one costed a bit less than 100, something like $90. But generally, they both were of almost the same price. This were my first time I bought something like that, so I was just curious to watch how good or bad these Aliexpress katanas are. I hope you don't mind me calling them katanas, because I know how sword specialists or Japanese culture specialists are sensitive on that matter. As far as I know, this particular type of katana is called uchigatana. It became widespread in the 15th century and it's the descendant of the tachi. And nowadays, almost every time you hear or see the katana word, it's this type of katana meant. I don't know why so many people have such problems with those names, as long as we call most of European swords a sword, and not a Viking sword or a long sword. But let's not digress. So, can a $100 Aliexpress katana be actually good? Let's take a closer look at them. I'm going to start with this one. This one cost exactly 100. Take a look at the appearance. In most cases they are all assigned for sore eyes, but that doesn't mean they are all of decent quality. The saya is made of lacquered wood, the fittings are of brass or zinc alloy. The thing I really like here is the handle. Its wrapping is made of leather, which I personally like more than a standard cord. It feels really tight when you hold it. And let's finally draw it out and look at the blade. And here it is. The blade is made of 1095 carbon steel. So they say in the description on the website. To be honest, I have no idea whether that's true or not, or how to check this at home. So if you know what type of steel this might really be, feel free to let me know in the comments. It's made of a single piece of steel without folding, but it is surprisingly sharp compared to the other katana I have here. You can easily cut your finger if you're not careful enough touching the blade's cutting edge. Look at the Hammond line here. As I said, I'm not a specialist, but it looks at least like somewhat similar to a Hammond line of real Japanese katanas. But regardless of whether it's real or not, this one is really sharp, and I'll try to show you. I know the paper is not a reliable and illustrative test, because even a very sharp blade may not cut the sheet of paper if you don't hold it properly. That's why I made a better test, which you'll see a bit later in this video. And just for your information, I didn't sharpen it additionally or did anything else to it. It's all the same as it was when it came to me, except for I had to assemble it myself since it was disassembled. So this was the main blade I wanted to show you in this video. And just for a comparison, let's take a look at this one. This also cost nearly 100, but just $10 cheaper than the first one. The saya is pretty different, not glossy as of that one. The handle's braid is fabric. Look at the tsuba here, which is maybe a little fancier. But there is a thing you can usually see on Chinese katanas. It's that a tsuba doesn't sit tight here, it's pretty loose. Not a big deal, but still can irritate sometimes. And here's the blade. It's 1060 carbon steel according to the info on the website. I think it's easy to guess this Hammond line is just a decor, an imitation made by some grinding. As about the blade itself, it's made by folding method. It has this fancy looking pattern on it, which is good for decorative purposes, but the thing is that this blade is definitely worse than the first we were looking at. I don't really know why, but it seems the folding method makes the blade worse when it's applied to the low quality steel like here. First, the blade's hardness is very bad. When I just unpacked and started assembling this one, it was a bit hard to install the handle. So I tried to push the sharp end to a piece of chipboard, which is softer compared to real wood. I started pushing and tapping in attempt to plant the handle on the blade. I was doing that just for a couple of seconds, but it was enough for the sharp end of the blade to bend. And there was no way to fix that because the blade started splitting at this very point where it bended. You can even see it over here. So I had no choice but to grind it off, because there was no way to restore the original form. And as you can see, the Kisaki point was spoiled on this katana. This is how I found out that the folding method makes it all worse if it comes down to cheaper katanas. Second, this blade isn't as sharp as the previous one. Even if I touch its cutting edge like this, it's really hard to cut your finger. And again, let's try to cut some paper to check what this one can do. Well, it cuts through the sheets with much bigger effort than the first katana. It's really blunt, but of course if used as a decor, it will look just as a real one. But if you try to use one like this for its real purpose, it may be a disappointment. And this is what I mean. A classic test on the bottles. I'll start with this one. Number 1. That was easy. Number 2. A thick plastic bottle. And it made it. Number 3. This is a milk bottle with pretty thick plastic too. Couldn't cut through, just pierced it. But maybe it was just because of me making a strike wrong. Number 4. Another milk bottle. Made it this time. And the last one is number 5. This shouldn't be a problem. Now it's the turn of the second katana. This is not as sharp as the first one, so don't expect much. Number 1. Didn't make it. Number 2. The same bottle with purple water. This was filmed beforehand. And didn't even pierce it. After that I realized to continue would be a waste of bottles, so that was all of it. And this is what my dad managed to do to that orange bottle. This is it. Another funny thing I'd like to show is these stains left on the second blade after those tests. It was pretty cold that day and I had to wipe the liquid off the blades after each bottle, but some soda froze on the second one and there was some time before I washed that ice away. And guess what? Some nasty stains left on the blade where that soda ice was for just 10 or 15 minutes. Which means the quality of the blade's metal is real garbage since it can be spoiled that easily. And I can't clean these stains off by any cleaning agents. Guess it's possible only by sandpaper now, but there's a risk to spoil the fake Hammond texture in its turn. So the conclusion is, this second katana is only suitable for decoration, while the first one looks like a real deal for this price. In any case, I think it's definitely worth $100, especially if you can't afford a real Japanese katana for a couple of thousand. And if you have any comments or corrections, feel free to share. I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, then don't hesitate to press like and subscribe to the channel. Some more videos about swords and katanas are coming soon, and even a couple of replicas of swords from the Witcher games. Thanks for watching, and until the next one.